Today we are going to be tanning this buck mink at home. I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. As you can see, this buck mink is put up and we need to get this fur relaxed. So what we have here is about 3 gallons of water. We are going to throw this skin down in that water and we're going to let it soak. But we need to add some chemicals while it soaks. So we have 3 pounds of salt. The pickling solution and the releasing solution that I'm using calls for 1 pound of salt per gallon of water. So we're going to pour this in and we will mix this up. Right here I have a McKinsey Ultimate Acid and this calls for a 1/2 ounce per gallon of water. So all that I do is measure with the cap. So we got 3 gallons, so we're going to put about 1.5 ounces in. The greaser and relaxer. And now this calls for 2 ounces per 5 gallons of water. So we're just going to go ahead and put 2 ounces. So I'm going to add 4 of these in. We're going to let this mink set, and it's going to sit for about 3 days. And it's going to loosen up the fibers in this dried up fur, and it's also going to work the grease, any grease that's left in that hide. Because on a mink, when you flesh it out, you're leaving what's called the saddle on its back. So that saddle, if there's any grease under it, anything like that, which you could see it right there glistening in the camera, I'm sure, it's going to loosen that up. And then as we pickle it, it's going to actually pretty much inflame whatever fat or meat is left on that skin. We'll scrape it off before the tanning process. Mix all of our chemicals up. All right, we have that mixed up. So we're going to go ahead and just fold our mink up. I'm going to throw that in. And what I'm going to do is use this bar just as a weight to keep that down in that solution. Exactly 3 days since we pickled this mink. We're going to go ahead and pull it out of the pickle. There's some more meat, a little bit of meat and fat on there. So what I'm going to do is go take this on the fleshing beam and I'll get this scraped off and I'll bring you back once I'm all done. So we fleshed that off again and you can see, you might be able to pick up that color differentiation right there, and that's what that was from. That was from me fleshing the skin down. Now that we shaved all the extra meat and fat off of this, we're going to throw it back in the pickling solution for a couple more hours and pull it out. And then after we do that, we're going to go ahead and neutralize the skin. So it's been 3 hours sitting back in the pickling solution. Everything's looking good in my opinion. We got 1 gallon of clean water in there approximately, and we have our mink fur. So what we're going to do is we're going to neutralize this fur with sodium bicarbonate. The cheaper version is baking soda. So all what that's going to do is, in neutralizing it, we're going to take the acidity level back to a normal pH. Is sprinkle about a 1/2 cup of baking soda in there. Take my bar, we're going to stir that around and just let this soak. So our mink is neutralized. You can see it coming out of our baking soda mixture. And in reality, this only had to sit in there for about 4 hours or so. I let it sit overnight just because 4 hours would have put us at midnight. It didn't harm it. So now from this point, what I'm going to do is flip this first side out and I'm going to go wash it. And to wash it, all I'm going to use is Pert Plus. That's it, a shampoo conditioner, get it nice and soft. And I'll bring you back once we get it cleaned. Got our mink clean. So what I did was I laid it out flat, and we're gonna, you see it's on this old towel. What we are going to do is I'm gonna drape another towel over top of it, and what I'm gonna do is roll this up with the first side out. And what that's gonna do is help with the moisture, help get some of that moisture out of the fur. And that's it. We're going to leave that rolled up for about 20-30 minutes. We'll come back and we'll put the tanning oil on it. It's been 30 minutes since we had this mink wrapped up. We're going to go ahead and unwrap it and get that tanning oil on it. First side back in. Got our first side back in. So all I'm going to do is just dab this side dry. And you'll feel this skin, it gets real tacky. To tan it, all we're using is a McKinsey tan. And it's real simple. So what we're going to do is we're going to rub this tan on both sides of the skin. And then we are going to roll it up and let it sit for about 4 hours, and then we're going to start the breaking process. So all that I do is literally just put a little bit on there and just rub her in. And we're going to flip it. Repeat the process. And then make sure you work it in that face. So now we got our tanning oil in there. What I'm going to do is go ahead and flip this back the first side out. So I'm just going to go ahead and take it from the face and roll it right down to the tail. And right there, put skin on skin. And that's it. It's going to sit there for about 4 hours. So I'll bring you back here once we start the breaking process.